You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
Smart Stadium tonight, 7:05 rugby championship action between the All Blacks and the Springboks. South Africa haven't been here for a while, and they certainly haven't lost here for a while. Let's bring in South African Rugby royalty. Former Springbok captain and 2007 Rugby World Cup winner Bob Skinstad.
So for the third time now, South Africa come at them. Skinstad through, what a beautiful dummy, and Bobby Skinstad with a big dive. Believe me, he has enjoyed that. Really hunting as a group as well. Skinstad, straight through, here he comes, Bobby Skinstad, a magnificent try.
Dalton is there, so is Conradi. Skinstad, space here, to Blanche, almost through. Pretorius away now to Barry. The chase is on, look at Tulsa, he could win it. Tune there first, he went without it. Tulsa, Skinstad. What composure from the box. South Africa right back in the game.
Some glory days there, Bob. Thanks for joining us to talk about this test match tonight. How much of a statement would it be for South Africa if they were able to beat the All Blacks in New Zealand just a couple of months out from the Rugby World Cup?
Look, I think it would be close to the pinnacle. You know, New Zealand in New Zealand is as big as it gets for South Africa. I mean, obviously World Cups and championships, etc., notwithstanding, but as a one-off match, that's about as tough as it can get. So I think it would be really big for this team, and they'll be really hoping that a couple of things go their way and they can achieve that.
What do you make of the South Africa 23 that's been named for this one? In particular, the fact they've gone with a 6-2 split of forwards on the bench. What does that tell you about the way they're likely to play this one?
I think, look, they've done that 6-2 split a couple of times, and we know that, you know, there's a bit of crossover because Crocker Smith is fast enough and he's a 7 specialist, so it's sort of 5.5. 2.5 if you want, but I think it means that they're going to try and lean towards power. They're going to see if they can take on, you know, the big timber up front, and you know, what they've been calling the bomb squad is that these guys coming off the bench are impact players of the highest order. So I think it means they want to play for the full 80 at a high tempo and keep the New Zealand sort of the 15 on the field as running around as much as possible. You know, they know that they're physical, they know they're athletes, they know they're playing against a really good team. I like the look of the New Zealand team. And I think that they're doing that because they want to play from minute 1 to minute 80.
And when the All Blacks beat South Africa at Ellis Park last year, they used a game plan of running South Africa's forwards around a lot. Do you expect that to be the type of game we see again, given what you've just outlined from South Africa's point of view?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they will definitely want to, up that tempo like they did, like what worked for them in South Africa last year. And let's be honest, they were more up against it last year. South Africa probably let themselves down in that match and will be disappointed they didn't win that one at home after doing so well away. But, I think that this team, especially with Geordie at 12 and you know, if you look at Kalia and Will Jordan as finishers, Rico coming into 13, they've still got big hitting outside backs. You know, I think the forwards are proven, but these guys are able to just keep going, and they're fit enough and strong enough. They've got a probably a slightly less experienced bench. I would say that with great respect, though. And they've also got guys there, you know, Papali'i and the Caleb Clark and these kind of guys who big, strong carriers of the ball. So I don't think the experience will get in the way. I would just say probably with number of test matches under the belt, slightly less, that's all.
Indeed. How surprised, Bob, were you with the size of South Africa's win over Australia last weekend, especially given the fact that, you know, South Africa had sent on a bunch of players to New Zealand? What did you make of South Africa's win over the Australians?
Yeah, I thought they played a good game, a measured game. I felt that they were organised from minute one. I mean, they still made a lot of mistakes, though. They still lost 5 of their own lineouts and a bit of their own possession. But I felt that they were in much more control. You know, we've seen the South African team of late starting to settle into a bit of a rhythm, reminding me more of guys who are testing and trying things, but they know each other. They know the guys around them. You know, probably less changes in and around the squad leads to that. So I felt it was a good win. You know, Eddie Jones wasn't very happy about it and was quite vociferous post-match about the disrespect, etc., from journos. But that's irrelevant. I mean, I think that's sort of something that is a reaction to a game where South Africa were very dominant.
Siya Kolisi is with the team in New Zealand. In fact, I saw him last night in pretty good spirits as he continues his rehab. How much of a boost would it be for him to recover in time to play at the Rugby World Cup?
Oh, it'd be an amazing boost. And, you know, he's such a wonderful leader of these men. He's been so vocal about how, you know, the team carry him just as much as he contributes to the team. So he's just really privileged and happy to be part of the setup. And I think he plays that role well. You know, he takes a bit of a deflection off the team while doing his hard work and staying with them. He's able to do some more of the media stuff and some more of the appearance stuff so that the other players don't have to do all of it as well as play, which I think is great. It's a nice balance. So it really would be fantastic if he was 100% fighting fit for the World Cup.
So how do you think the Springboks side of 2023 compares to the World Cup winners of 2019?
I think not that dissimilar. I mean, I think 2019 probably came a couple of years too early for Rassie Erasmus. He's even said it himself. He wasn't planning on winning that World Cup. I mean, he was obviously hoping for it, but he didn't sort of figure that if he had that team together for sort of 2.5 years, that they'd be good enough to win that World Cup. And it turned out that they were. So I think the plans have almost locked more into place. So I think this team they'll be good. They'll be their own worst enemies if they're not planning for you know, big games and for difficult games. That they're a very together side, a very together group, and I think we saw the inklings of that in 2019. And I think they've just built on that. So they're not really fazed by much going on around them, which I've got tremendous respect for. You know, in sports you need to do your own washing, as they say, and I think this team does that in heaps, and hopefully it's a good sign.
Bob, do you think leaving Super Rugby has been of benefit to South African rugby and its top players?
Yes, I do. I think they've had more time, you know, in South Africa playing rugby and in the same time zones, and that's one factor. That's just the physical nature of that tournament. But then I also think that the players have had more derby games against each other, so the coaches have been able to see, you know, structurally who they want to play in what kind of positions, and that's happened on the doorstep. So a lot easier for just team management and transition from provincial unions or provincial teams into the national team. I think that's been important. And then I also think they've had a chance to play rugby in sort of in blocks that have been able to rest them a little bit better. You know, the national team can dictate a bit more. The United Rugby Championship, which is the competition they play in Europe, and the European Cup or EPCR Champions Cup is a tournament that suits the South African teams. You know, there's some big, strong teams in France and England. We know that. I still believe Super Rugby probably for us got too bloated at the end. I think Super 10, Super 12, maybe even Super 14 was perfect for the South African teams because you could do a little block of 4 games and then come back. You had a three and a bit week tour. You know, as it got bigger and you had more trips going over and back, that was more difficult. So this suits us better, definitely.
Indeed. Just a couple more for you, mate. Always great to catch up. We saw the retirement this week of Frans Steyn. Where does he stand in the history of South African rugby?
Oh, he's got to be one of the greatest ever, doesn't he? I mean, I played with him as a wet behind the ears 21-year-old kid who was booting them over from the 10-yard line in Tri-Nations and World Cups even at that age, and then could have been almost a century of appearances later, and more than 14, 15 years later, he's still been doing the same thing. So I don't know, just one of the really, really nice guys of the game, an amazing contributor, an incredible sportsman, and a gentleman as well. So he's done a lot for South African rugby, and we owe him a lot.
Lovely words. And just to finish, what are we, 9 weeks out from the Rugby World Cup, Bob? How would you describe your levels of optimism as we head towards this massive tournament?
I think I'm, bordering on excitement. I'm really looking forward to some big games. I think the teams are gearing up. It sounds like the French have got the public excited about hosting and people coming in from international rugby playing unions and nations, and that's always good. They're fantastic hosts, and rugby is such an important part of French culture. So we'll slip right into that. And I'm UK based at the moment, so looking to just jump on a train or a plane and get over for as many of the games as I can. I'm really looking forward to that opening clash between yourselves and the host nation, and onward from that. I think it's going to be a fantastic tournament. I think South Africa have got a chance. Everybody's got a chance. We've got a really tough pool environment. Not only Scotland and Ireland waiting for us, but a rejuvenated and rejigged Tongan outfits that are going to be chock full of hard tackling forwards, hard scrumming forwards, and then hard running back. So we've got our work cut out for us just to get out of the pool. But if we do that, then we've got a chance in taking on some of the biggest teams. And I'd back us to at least prepare and get ready for that in the best way possible.
So great to catch up, Bob. Thanks for taking the time for a chat. All the best for the rest of this year. Look forward to seeing how this all plays out, because it's fascinating on so many levels. Thanks again for your time.
I appreciate it, Piney, and good luck to all the Kiwis for the match tomorrow. It's great to see our countries playing against each other, especially in Auckland. Looking forward. Yeah, we are too, mate. Thanks indeed. That's Bob Skinstad out of South Africa. Well, actually living in the UK these days, but a South African rugby legend. Great to get his thoughts on News Talk ZB.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday, or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.